Yeah, here we go. All right, we're live. So today I want to talk to you about, I think an age-old question for a lot of us in creative entrepreneur land. And that is, should I list my prices on my website? This is a question that pops up over and over again, both with my students, and I was thinking about it, and I'm pretty sure it's like every single client that we have had too. Great, some of you are popping in here. So I wanted to let you know, I've got my phone beside me, so if you have questions along the way, I want to make sure that we get them answered for you. And yeah, let's go ahead and break in. So like I said, the topic is, should I list my prices or not? And then I want to give you 5 ways that we have handled this with the clients that we have had in my business. And I know some of you don't quite know who I am, so I wanted to explain that. Hi, my name is Ashlyn Carter, and I've been a calligrapher for about, I was counting this morning, 6 years. And I also worked in corporate marketing for almost a decade altogether. And so I write a lot, and part of my business now is writing copy for creative entrepreneurs. So got a lot to cover today. This is going to be applicable for you, but for those of you who are watching right now, I want to go ahead and see a yes or a no in the comments. Do you list your prices on your website, or is that something that you struggle with? Do you have like a packaging structure, or do you just kind of keep your cards close to yourself and you wait until you get that inquiry in? I would be really interested, hey Raina, in kind of hearing how you approach that in your own business. And as we get into that, I wanted to tell you what made me think of this, besides the fact that this is a question that I get multiple times a day. I got, yes mom, I'm talking about bras on Facebook Live. I got this magazine in the mail the other day, and it was really interesting to me. This is a company called Third Love. I'm sure there's somebody out there who wears their bras or has heard about them, but it is an absolutely gorgeous magazine. Hi James, he remembers me. Adrian, that made my day, thank you. This magazine came to me, and the bras in here, I ended up looking, well let me tell you first. So I flipped through it because their branding is beautiful, of course, but they talk a lot about how they found that women didn't have a favorite bra, that they couldn't find it, blah, 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 blah. So these beautiful pictures, the copy the whole time, like they're selling me on it, and I'm getting to it, and I get to the end, and I'm like, well, where's the price? Like, you probably had me, I'm interested. But you can't find that in their magazine. This is I think it's like 30-something page magazine that does not list the prices. And instead, I have to get on their website to find more information about that. And I thought that was really interesting because, do you know what? I won't say I bought one yet, but I was talking to one of my best friends last night. We were texting about bras, and she had said something to the fact, like, have you heard of this company? And I was like, yes. And we were both realizing how close we were to purchasing just because of the branding and how beautiful everything was communicated and how they sold us. So before I get into these 5 ways that we have listed prices for our clients, I want to give you 3 little mindset shifts that I want you to make. The first one is, I want you to realize that you're going to constantly have to have your ear to the ground on your sales funnel. And if you think you don't have a sales funnel, you do. Everybody does. Even when you go to the dentist, that's a sales, like, you found out about them, you called, you make the appointment, you go in there, then they book you for your next appointments. Everything has a funnel of getting more business, getting recurring business. So you do have one, and you have to constantly get your ear to the ground and figure out, where is it breaking? Where is the point where somebody comes across your business for the first time and they don't take that next step to book. They don't push play, push go, past 100. Past go, get 100, you know what I mean? So you've got to constantly, I say that a lot because some of my clients want to do one thing. You need to realize that there's flexibility in the system. You're going to do one thing for a while, and the lever's going to go like this, and then you're going to have to shift, and you're going to have to do this for a little while. And so that's why knowing these 5 tools can be really helpful, because you're going to be able to use them at different points in your business when you need the different ones. The other 2 things that I wanted to tell you before we jump into the 5 tools that you should have in your toolbox when it comes to listing prices on your website is that we're going to lace all of this up with a bow called Socratic methodology. And that's a big fancy word, but basically we need to do something called price anchoring. And we need to get people to ask in their own heads before they ever see your price, what is this worth to me? And we need them to do that because everybody out there thinks that sales are out to separate a fool from his money, right? Like we're just always a little bit leery. So what you need to do then in your copy and in your messaging and on your work with me page is prove that value up front in such a bigger way that they can't help but say no to what you have to offer. And you do that all before they ever see the price. So those were my little caveats before. Let's see, I'm seeing some of these. Andrea, you own 5 of those Third Loves? That is impressive. They blew me away with the catalog. Hi, Rachel. Hey, Andrea. Okay, let's roll. Let's get into these 5 things. So the first way that I have seen that we have dealt with this with our clients is no, and it's gated by an inquiry. So this is when you don't list prices at all and you wait until somebody reaches out to you. And I wrote down a few of ideas about who this is for and who it's not for. This is for you if you are killer at in-person sales. If you can get someone on that Skype or Zoom call and convince them. If you need to have the coffee date and you convince them every single time. This is also good for companies like this. If you have a great client magazine, and that's why the copy in your client magazine is so important. The pictures, sure, but like it's the words in there that convinced me that the pictures were everything that I wanted them to be. This is also for you if you sell at a really high price point. Not always, but if you do sell at a high price point, and again, you're more comfortable convincing the value over that, walking them further along in their client journey over the phone. I saw this with a mastermind recently that I was considering joining. The price was not listed, and instead you had to reach out and she had to talk to you on the phone before you realized what the price was. So that's the first way, no, gated by inquiry. The second way is no, gated by application. This is something that we have tried actually in my own business, and it's great. There's a lot of businesses out there that do this, but this is when you get them to, so you set up a little bit of a gate, but it's just, it kind of makes them have another hoop to jump through before they get to you. And this can be good if you were in a position where you were constantly getting those inquiries that were just not at your price point. You're like, come on, like either that or you get a lot of people who are asking and then they hear your price and run away. So if you want to have that like meet in the middle, try this. Create some kind of application. Use something like Typeform or Google Forms or contact form from something like Honeybook, and create some kind of way for someone to express interest. And don't ask for too much information. This is one thing I see all the time with our clients on their contact pages. We can't ask for so much information up front that someone feels like they either won't finish it. Like this just happens all the time, specifically with my wedding industry clients. You don't want to ask everything yet. We'll get there. We just want them, you always just want to ask enough to get them to take the next step. And so that's why your contact form, just watch how much information you put on that. So when you're doing an application form, you want those questions to be more questions that let him or her express what they're going through. What's the biggest problem that you have with XYZ, whatever you do? How can a copywriter best serve you in your business? You want to ask really validating questions. You don't want to ask anything that's crazy. I would say nothing more than like a date and venue if you're in the wedding. I don't know, sometimes I see these crazy questions. I'm like, nope, too soon, too soon. So that's another thought that I had there. Let me think if there's, I think I told everybody you want to see, yeah, okay. So that's the second one, okay? No, gated by an application. The third one is yes, blatantly listing your prices. Now this works best for products, obviously, services sales pages when you have a lot of copy, so like a course or a digital product. This works well on a sales page for a digital product because all of the other copy that people are scrolling through forever, that's your value propositioning. That's your Socratic methodology. Here's another mistake sometimes I see is on these sales pages, somebody wants to put all this verbiage and language around the price that they've listed. But you have already, that's what the whole page was for. So don't do that. Don't clutter it up. If you were going to do this third tool, which is yes, and listing it blatantly, just list it and go away. Like you don't want to cloud it and muddy it up. You always want to get out of the way of your reader when you're writing copy and make the decision easy for them to make and make it very clear for them. So just list it and walk away. But that's the third thing that you can do. The fourth way that you could list prices on your website, and I did this one because this is when you're like sort of doing it. This is when you say as a percentage. And this is something that a lot of my wedding industry clients do, and I like it. I think it is a great way to politely explain the level of clientele that you work with. You can say most of our brides spend about 10% of their wedding budget on paper products. And then that kind of gives a clue in of, yes, I'm a fit, no, I'm not a fit. So try that. That may be something that works really well. And then the last, that I would say that also works well if you just do custom pricing. And there's no way that you can figure some sort of package price that everybody will fall into, because it's going to be different for everybody based on the things that they pick out and the things that are tailor-made and custom-made for them. So that is the next way. And then the last way, the fifth and final way that you can list prices on your website is similar to the percentage, but this is when you say starting at. And this works really well also for custom pricing, but also if you kind of fall into the bucket of one as well, which we talked about was gated by inquiry. If you know that once you talk to them, you're going to be able to probably sell them, then I would also maybe try to look at listing a starting at price. So I'm going to stick around and see, yes, Raina is so right. Raina said that applications they make them self-select, and I think that's really important. They also make them, like that can be a good thing if you want to ask if you have a few offerings, and if you want to say, what's your budget? And they tell you what it's worth to them, what that would fit. And then you can come back with an offer your offer that you already have that fits that, instead of the back and forth constantly of, well, can we take that out? Can we try this? Just give them what you have. So I think that was it. It is. I'll stick around and see if any other questions pop through. I did want to say that let me wrap up these again. And like I said at the very beginning, these are things that you're going to have to play at different points. It's like playing a fiddle. You're just going to have to constantly figure out where the hiccups are in your sales funnel and your clients coming your way and booking with you, and change it. Change it constantly. I can't tell you how many times I've changed this in my business, and we've been full since I started on clients, but it's because I've been constantly tweaking this. Actually, I haven't really talked about that ever, but yes, I've constantly tweaked this in my business. So again, those 5 ways that you can list prices or not on your website are no, and gate it by inquiry, so they have to reach out and respond. No, gate it by application, where they, as Raina said, self-select. 3, yes, and blatantly. And if you're going to list your prices blatantly, do it and then get out of the way. Don't clog it up with all sorts of copy around it. The 4th is sort of, and listing a percentage of the clients that you work with of their business budget or their wedding budget or whatever it is. And then the 5th will be when you list it as starting as. That's the other option that you could do. Rachel has a great question. She said, would you combine these at all? I'm considering a starting at price, but having an application on the page too to make sure it's a good fit for you and your client. Rachel, I think that's a great idea. I would definitely recommend combining bits of them. You also may have different ways that you price for different packages or products that you offer. Again, that's totally what we do in my business too. But Rachel, to answer that, so I think if you have your price, your starting at price, and then you get them to an application, just be aware that you're probably, that's a couple of hoops to jump through. Not that I think it's a bad idea at all. Like you're hooking their interest, if you think about that when you say starting at, so they're like green light, they're good to go there, they land on your application, and then that's, I don't know, that's probably a good chance for them to get to, I don't know, like, I always think about, I want my application to be a place where they can just word vomit, like they just can get it out, and then when I'm able to have that sales call, I know what they need, and I know if I can fit that or not. So yeah, Rachel, I think it is a great idea for you to combine those two. Andrea said, yep, Andrea offers a discovery call. Those are great. I also saw somebody in some Facebook group I'm in the other day. I highly recommend I know some people do those in person. I highly recommend doing those on video. I don't know. I feel like we're business, like I can't afford to drive all over town. That's just my opinion, but anyway. That was a minor soapbox. I think that's about it. That's all I have. Obviously, you've kind of seen today the words that go all around this, the copy on all of your Work With Me page, your services page, then that inquiry response, then your client magazine. All these words are so important when it comes to Socratic methodology and teaching someone to put this value proposition in their mind before they even see your price. And so if that is something that you need a little more support on or you want to learn a little more about, I would love for you to join me next week from October the 12th through the 16th. I am teaching a free 5-day Write Your Website challenge. And we're going to kick it off with talking about your unique selling proposition, and we're going to go all the way through your homepage, about page, and your sales and services page at the end. So if that's something that interests you, just comment below invite, and we will make sure to get you in. You can also go to ashlynwrites.com/challenge, and I'll get you a seat. Like I said, that kicks off on October the 12th, and I'm so excited about it. We've already got we've got more than 600 people signed up and almost 400 people in the group. So I'm really excited. It's buzzing with energy, and we're really going to help you make sure that your website words are done in 2017 and you're not carrying that into 2018, okay? That is my goal. So again, thank y'all for hopping on. There was a good bit of you. I've got a lot of technological devices that showed me stuff like that. So I hope you have a great day, and I hope that this was helpful. And yeah, text invite if you want to hop in. I'd love to see you there. Bye.